I never thought the day would come when I'd point a loaded Glock at my own flesh and blood, finger trembling on the trigger, her wide eyes pleading like she was still the 8-year-old who'd skinned her knee on the cul-de-sac asphalt. But there I was, in the dim glow of our family home's walk-in closet, once a sanctuary of silk blouses and forgotten dreams, whispering, "Why, Lily? Why me?" as the weight of 23 years crashed down like the verdict I'd dodged for so long. The attorney's warning echoed in my skull, frantic and raw from that rain-slicked parking garage 2 weeks ago. "Don't trust her, Diana. She's the one who buried you alive." It started with a kiss I wasn't supposed to see. Not the sloppy, tequila-fueled kind from Spring Break '03 that we'd laughed off over bottomless mimosas at that hole-in-the-wall diner in Austin. No, this was calculated, deliberate, a slow, lingering press of lips between my husband of 24 years, Tom, and the junior associate who'd been climbing the ranks at our firm like kudzu on a Georgia fence post. I'd planted the nanny cam in our bedroom because trust, that slippery bastard, had been eroding faster than the foundation of our McMansion after Hurricane Ida's remnants tore through Houston last summer. Paranoia? Maybe. But in the cutthroat world of Texas oil and gas litigation, where deals were sealed in backroom steakhouses and secrets traded like cattle futures, paranoia was just good business. The footage hit my inbox at 2:17 a.m., time-stamped from the night before, while I was pulling an all-nighter on a class-action suit against some fracking conglomerate that had poisoned half of West Texas's aquifers. Tom's broad shoulders, still tanned from our annual Gulf Coast getaway, hunched over her lithe frame. Samantha Reyes, 28, with that glossy black hair and the MBA from Yale that made her think she owned the world. They didn't notice the lens, too wrapped up in the betrayal, her manicured nails digging into his back like she was staking a claim on my life. I played it on loop, the audio tinny but clear. "She suspects nothing, baby. The ledgers are clean now." Clean. As if erasing my name from the embezzlement trail was as easy as hitting delete on an Excel sheet. Tom and I had built Sterling and Hale from the ground up, back when we were fresh-faced JDs hustling in a Dallas strip mall office that smelled like stale coffee and desperation. We'd clawed our way to the penthouse suite in River Oaks, trading sleep for billable hours, weekends for depositions. Lily was our miracle, born premature during a deposition on a toxic tort case, her tiny cries echoing through the courthouse hallway like a judge's gavel. I'd named her after my grandmother, the one who'd bootstrapped her way out of the Dust Bowl, but Tom always called her our little firecracker, especially after she aced her LSAT at 17 and skipped straight to Harvard Law. Now, at 23, she was interning at the firm, her golden curls and Ivy League polish turning heads in the bullpen. Perfect daughter. Perfect life. Until the IRS came knocking. The audit hit like a nor'easter, unannounced, unrelenting. 2 agents in off-the-rack suits from the federal building downtown, flashing badges and demanding records on a $2.7 million shortfall in client escrow funds. Tom's face had drained of color faster than a debutante's blush at her first cotillion scandal. "It's a glitch, D." He'd stammered over takeout fajitas that night, his knee bouncing under the kitchen island like it did during closing arguments. "Samantha's on it. Junior error." But I knew better. I'd spotted the discrepancies months ago, subtle line item shifts, phantom wire transfers to offshore shells that screamed money laundering. Not Tom's style. He was too straight arrow, the guy who'd argue ethics clauses into ironclad contracts. No, this reeked of someone bolder, hungrier. I covered for him. Or so I thought. That night, after Lily crashed early from her bar study marathon, I logged into the firm's server from my iPad, propped on the duvet while Tom snored beside me. One by one, I rerouted the trails, backdated approvals under my login, forged timestamps that pinned the mess on me. It was a felony wrapped in a cover-up, the kind that could bury a career deeper than the Permian Basin oil fields. But love's a blindfold in family. That's the noose you tie yourself. By dawn, the books balanced, the shortfall explained as my oversight. Tom woke to my coffee brewing, kissed my forehead, and murmured, "You're my rock, D." Lily texted from her sublet in the Heights, "Mom, you're a boss. Love you." Lies, all of it. Or so I'd learn. The fallout came swift as a Houston summer squall. Indictment papers served at the office, right there in the lobby with the ficus trees and the receptionist pretending not to stare. Federal wire fraud, conspiracy, the works. 10 counts that could net me 20 years in Carswell. That women's lockup outside Fort Worth where the air smells like regret and recycled despair. Tom stood by me publicly, arm around my waist at the press conference, his voice steady as a preacher's. Diana Sterling is innocent. This is a witch hunt. But privately, in the glow of our master bath's vanity lights, he'd pace, phone glued to his ear, whispering to Samantha about contingencies. Lily? She was my rock, driving in from Austin every weekend, bringing care packages of Bluebell and bad rom-coms. Her hugs fierce enough to crack ribs. We'll beat this, Mom. You're unbreakable. Unbreakable. What a joke. The real fracture came 2 weeks before trial, in that underground garage beneath the federal courthouse. A concrete tomb lit by flickering fluorescents, the air thick with exhaust and dread. I'd just met with my attorney, Marcus Hale, Tom's old law school buddy who'd joined the firm as our rainmaker. He was chain-smoking menthols despite the no-smoking signs, his tie askew, eyes darting like a cornered jackrabbit. Diana, he'd hissed, grabbing my elbow as I headed for my Lexus, rain pattering on the hood like impatient fingers. Don't trust her. Her who? I'd laughed it off, nerves jangling from the motion to suppress hearing. Lily. The name dropped like a live grenade. She's the one who flipped the script. Planted the originals in your desk, D. Not Tom's. She's been skimming for months, feeding it to that prick venture capitalist she met at a mixer. Thinks you're the fall guy to keep her clean. My blood turned to ice water, the kind that seeps into your bones during a norther that drops temps to freezing in July. Lily? My Lily, who'd sobbed on my shoulder when her high school boyfriend ghosted her after prom, who'd called me at 3 a.m. from Cambridge homesick for my gumbo. Marcus swore he had proof, emails, timestamps, a whistleblower tip from an IT guy in the basement who'd caught her VPN hops to Cayman accounts. But he wouldn't show me, not yet. Plausible deniability, D. If you confront her, she lawyered up yesterday. Some shark from DC. I drove home in a blackout fog, wipers slashing at the downpour, radio blaring some country crooner about lost love and loaded guns. Betrayal isn't a single stab, it's a slow bleed, questions gnawing like termites in drywall. Why? For what? Lily had everything. A trust fund from Tom's folks, a fast track to partner, a life scripted for success in this land of bootstraps and billion-dollar dreams. What hole in her soul demanded she dig mine deeper? That night, I waited. Tom was at a client dinner, code for Samantha's condo in Midtown. Lily arrived late, heels clicking on the slate foyer like accusations, her raincoat dripping onto the Persian rug I'd haggled for at a Neiman Marcus sale. Mom? You okay? You look wrecked. She smelled like vanilla and ambition, that Joe Malone she'd splurged on with her first bonus. I poured a scotch, Macallan 18, the bottle we'd cracked on her law school acceptance, and we sat at the island, the one where we'd carved our initials with a steak knife on her 16th birthday. Tell me about the internship, I probed, voice steady as a deposition. She lit up, rattling off war stories, deposing a roughneck who'd seen too many rigs collapse, outmaneuvering a defense hack from Big Oil. But her eyes, those hazel mirrors of my own, skittered away when I mentioned the audit. Dad says it's nothing. You're golden. Golden. Like the goose she'd slaughtered for her golden eggs. I didn't sleep. Dawn broke humid and heavy, mocking the storm's retreat. By noon, I was in Marcus's office, a glass-walled eyrie overlooking Buffalo Bayou, demanding the files. He slid over a thumb drive, his face etched with the weariness of a man who'd seen too many family implosions. This'll destroy you, D. But truth's a bitch. The emails were damning. Lily's sig to l.sterling@sterlinghale.com, routing funds to a shell called Firecracker Ventures, her alias, for God's sake. Notes to her investor. Mom's login is weak, using it for cover. Dad's clueless. And the kicker, a chain from Tom, forwarding her the access codes, his sign-off. For us, Firecracker. Keep it quiet. Us. The word hollowed me out. Tom knew. All along. He'd known. Feeding her the rope to hang me with while he played the devoted husband. The betrayal layered like sedimentary rock. Daughter's greed. Husband's complicity. My own blind faith, the fossil at the core. I pocketed the drive, thanked Marcus with a nod that felt like goodbye, and walked out into the midday blaze, Houston's heat wave pressing down like Judgment Day. Revenge isn't a light switch. It's a slow fuse, sputtering in the dark. I could have gone nuclear, leaked it to the Chronicle, watched their empire crumble in pixelated headlines. But no, this was personal, a reckoning carved from the marrow of American dreams gone toxic. I'd built my life on the scales of justice, tipping them with rhetoric and resolve. Now, I'd unbalance them my way. First, the firm. I called an emergency partners meeting that afternoon, striding into the boardroom like Lady Justice Unchained, the drive plugged into the projector before the coffee even cooled. Slides flickered. Timelines, transfers, Tom's smug emails side by side with Lily's frantic cover-ups. Gasps rippled like wine through live oaks. Old money partners from the Petroleum Club, their faces paling under spray tans. Gentlemen and ladies, I said, voice honed from 1,000 courtrooms. This isn't a glitch. It's theft. By family. Samantha bolted mid-presentation, her chair scraping like a guilty plea, but security, my call, had the lobby locked down. Tom arrived late, tie crooked, smelling of her perfume. His eyes met mine across the mahogany table, not denial, but calculation. D, let's talk private. No talks, I snapped. Just indictments. By evening, the FBI had vans idling curbside, agents and windbreakers hauling boxes from the server room. Lily texted, Mom, WTF? Dad says you're cracking. I didn't reply. Let her stew in the silence I'd taught her to fear, the quiet before a verdict drops. But she didn't crack. Oh no. My firecracker flipped the script again, calling a presser from her lawyer's office the next morning, tears streaming down that flawless face on every local affiliate. My mother's unstable. The stress of the charges, it's breaking her. These files, fabrications. She's lashing out at the family that loves her. The feed cut to Tom, arm around her, voice gravelly with feigned heartbreak. We stand by Diana. But this is tragic. Tragic. As if I were the villain in our own soap opera, some desperate housewife unraveling at the seams. The backlash hit like a class-action tsunami. Clients pulled retainers, ExxonMobil, Chevron, the works, fleeing the scandal like rats from a burning rig. Protests sprouted outside the office. Justice for Sterling, signs waving from housewives who'd read one too many true crime pods, convinced I was the embittered wife torching her own nest. Online, the trolls feasted, feminist lawyer gone rogue, classic. Lily's GoFundMe for family healing raked in 6 figures overnight, donors gushing about her grace under fire. Grace. The word curdled in my gut. I holed up in the lake house up in Conroe, that cedar-shingled retreat we'd bought for weekends away, now a bunker stocked with bourbon and burner phones. Marcus visited once, bringing takeout from good company. Barbecue, his eyes shadowed. She's good, D. That DC Shark's spinning it like Watergate. Tom's lawyered up too, claiming coercion. Coercion. As if Lily's texts weren't laced with do it, Dad, or I spill about the affair. The affair. Plural now. Marcus had dug up more. Samantha was just the latest, a parade of interns and paralegals stretching back a decade. I'd been the beard, the respectable facade for his wandering. Nights blurred into a haze of what-ifs, the lake's black water lapping at the dock like unanswered accusations. Why cover for them? Because blood's thicker than the Rio Grande. Because in this bootstrapped republic, family is the one debt you can't default on. But debts compound, and mine was overdue. The fuse lit on a Tuesday, humid as sin, with thunder rumbling distant over the Sam Houston tollway. I drove back to Houston under a sky bruised purple, Glock tucked in the glove box. Registered, legal, the Second Amendment's cold comfort. Not to kill, never that, but to force truths into the light, like dragging a witness from contempt. The house was dark when I pulled into the driveway, the for sale sign mocking from the lawn. Tom's doing, liquidating assets before the feds froze them. Inside, the air hung stale, takeout containers fossilizing on counters. Upstairs, voices filtered from the master. Low, urgent. I crept up, heart hammering like a gavel, the gun heavy in my palm. They were there. Tom on the edge of the bed, shirt unbuttoned, Lily pacing in yoga pants and a Harvard hoodie, her curls wild. Samantha lounged against the headboard, scrolling her phone like she owned the place. And if Mom flips harder, we pivot to mental health defense, Lily was saying, voice clipped as a closing. I've got the psych eval lined up. Bipolar runs in her family, right, Dad? Tom nodded, rubbing his temples. Yeah, your grandma's episodes. It'll stick. Samantha snorted. Bitch deserves it. After what she pulled in the meeting. I stepped in, door creaking like a bad plot twist. What I pulled? Or what you buried? The room froze, tableau of guilt. Tom's mouth agape, Lily's eyes flashing defiance, Samantha scrambling for her purse. Mom, Lily breathed, stepping forward, hands out like I was the wild one. Put that down. You're scaring everyone. Scaring? Try betrayed. I leveled the Glock. Not at her, but the family portrait on the wall, that staged shot from Lily's graduation. Us three, arms linked, smiles wide as the Texas horizon. Bullet punched through glass, splintering the frame. Our frozen joy fracturing like my resolve. They flinched, Tom diving behind the nightstand, Samantha shrieking into her phone, Lily standing tall, chin up like in mock trial. Why, Lily? The money? Or was it always me you hated? My voice cracked, the first real break since the garage. She laughed, bitter as mesquite smoke. Hated? God, Mom, you were the chain. Always earn it. Prove yourself, while Dad partied and you played martyr. I took what was mine. You taught me how. Win at all costs. Tom peeked out, voice wheedling. Dee, listen. It was her idea, but I... Shut up. Lily whirled on him. You coward. You loved it. The thrill, the side pieces. Mom was the boring part. The flip, her turning on him midstream, hung in the air, electric as a live wire. Samantha bolted past me, heels skittering down the stairs. I let her go, the dominoes falling. Sirens wailed distant, her 911 call blooming into chaos. In that suspended moment, Lily lunged, not for the gun, but me, arms wrapping fierce, a hug twisted into grapple. I did it for us, Mom. To break free. You could have joined, but you chose chains. Her breath hot on my neck, words venom and plea. Tom rose, torn. Reach for her or me. The husband, the father, the enabler. I shoved her back, gun clattering to the carpet. Us? There is no us. But as cops breached the foyer downstairs, boots thumping like fate's march, I saw it. The mirror of myself in her. Ruthless, unyielding, the American hustle incarnate. Had I forged this monster, or just birthed its twin? They cuffed us all that night. Me for the firearm discharge, them for the ledgers Marcus had anonymously tipped. Headlines screamed, Sterling scandal implodes, daughters double-cross. The trial became a circus, splitting the nation like a partisan filibuster. Was Lily a victim of cutthroat capitalism or a spoiled millennial monster? Tom cut a deal, testifying against her for immunity, his flips more frequent than a weather vane in a gale. Samantha vanished to some yoga retreat in Bali, her Insta glowing with sunsets and absolution. My charges? Dropped, eventually, the gun a domestic disturbance in a state that worships its firepower. But freedom tasted like ash. Lily got 8 years, federal time in Bryan. Her appeals a litany of sob stories that divided the Bar Association, half calling her a cautionary tale, half a feminist anti-hero bucking the patriarchy. I sold the house. The firm, started over in Austin, a solo practice handling pro bono for fracking widows, the irony bitter as black coffee. Tom. He crashed and burned, disbarred. Last seen slinging beers at a dive in Galveston, chasing ghosts of glory. As for the twist, the one that keeps me up, staring at the ceiling fan's lazy spin, Lily's last letter from lockup, pinned in that looping script I'd taught her. You won, Mom. But in winning, you lost us both. Was it worth it? Worth it? Hell if I know. In this land of second chances and score settling, revenge is just another verdict. Open to appeal, forever debated over backyard beers and cable news rants. Maybe she was right. Maybe I was the villain all along. Or perhaps we're all just players in the grand American tragedy, flipping scripts till the curtain drops. But damn if it doesn't make you think twice about who you trust with the keys to your kingdom. The appeals dragged on like a bad divorce, each filing a fresh stab in the courtroom's fluorescent glare. Lily's shark from D.C., some silver-haired fox named Harlan Crow, with a Rolodex thicker than the federal rules, painted her as the ultimate underdog. A brilliant young woman crushed by a toxic family dynamic, her mother's relentless ambition the true culprit. He subpoenaed my psych records, dredging up Grandma's episodes, manic stretches in the 70s when she'd pawned family heirlooms to fund wild real estate schemes, leaving Grandpa to pick up the shards in their Leveland trailer. Bipolar by proxy, he called it, arguing Lily's theft was just a cry for help, a rebellion against the Sterling Hail grind that had chewed me hollow. The media ate it up. Fox News ran segments on millennial entitlement versus boomer tyranny, talking heads in power suits debating if Lily was a symptom of woke excess or a savvy survivor in a rigged game. CNN flipped it progressive. When mothers become monsters, patriarchal pressures on the next-gen protests swelled outside the Travis County Courthouse. Lily's supporters in pink pussy hats chanting, "Free the firecracker." My few allies, mostly retired oil widows I'd repped in torts, countering with signs reading, "Justice ain't free." One viral tweet summed the schism. Diana Sterling. Heroic whistleblower or vengeful harpy? You decide. Sterling saga. I testified on day 3, perched in the witness box like a perched vulture, Harlan's cross-exam a scalpel to my scars. "Ms. Sterling," he drawled, southern drawl honed in Alabama courtrooms. "You admit to falsifying records to protect your husband. Isn't that the real crime here? Your willingness to suborn perjury for a man who betrayed you." The jury, 12 Houstonians, a mix of roughnecks and soccer moms, leaned in, eyes hungry for the dirt. "I did it for family," I shot back, voice steady as the Brazos in flood. "Something you wouldn't understand, Mr. Crow, with your third wife half your age." Gasps rippled. The judge rapped his gavel, but the damage was done, tabloid gold. Tom, slouched at the defense table in a off-the-rack suit that hung like defeat, avoided my gaze. He'd cut his deal weeks prior. 5 years probation, disbarment, and a vow of silence on the stand. But silence cracked under pressure, and rumor had it Crow had dirt. Photos, maybe, or recordings from that affair parade. Lily took the stand next, a vision in tailored navy, her curls tamed into a professional chignon. She wept on cue, dabbing with a monogrammed hanky. Mom was my idol. But the pressure, the endless be more, it broke something in me. She spun the yarn masterfully. How Tom's neglect, post my obsessive workaholism, drove her to borrow funds for a startup pitch, eco-fracking tech. Ironic as hell. Intending to pay it back once her app went viral. The embezzlement? A shortcut. Dad enabled it, but Mom. She covered because she knew I'd shatter without her shield. The jury cooed. Even I felt the tug, that maternal ache like heartburn after too much brisket. But then the twist, the one that split the gallery like Moses at the Red Sea. Crow called a surprise witness. Elena Vasquez, the firm's long-suffering bookkeeper, a wiry abuela type who'd started as a temp when Lily was in diapers. Elena shuffled in, rosary beads clicking, her testimony a bombshell wrapped in barrio wisdom. "Senorita Lily, she no steal alone," she said, accent thick as mole sauce. "Senora Diana, she no. She sign off on wires, big ones, to charities. Anonymous. For the kids in Flint, the hurricanes down island. But she route through the shells, make it look dirty, to hide from the IRS audits on the firm." My jaw hit the rail. Lies. No. Truth. Twisted. I'd funneled escrow skim to relieve funds after Harvey, post-Katrina style, bypassing red tape because big oil clients would have bolted at philanthropy deductions. Tom had signed too, but Lily? She'd discovered the trails during her internship, weaponized them in her scheme, looping my logins to muddy the waters. Elena's proof? Forged PDFs, her loyalty bought with a cut of Lily's Cayman Hall. The courtroom erupted, reporters scrambling for quotes, Lily's fans shrieking frame job. My detractors hissing tax dodge queen. Harlan beamed like a cat with cream. He'd flipped Elena mid-trial, another layer in the onion of deceit. Tom bolted for the restroom, retching herd through the oak door. Me? I locked eyes with Lily across the aisle, hers gleaming triumph, mine stealing for the counterpunch. Recess called. I cornered Marcus in the marble hallway, the air conditioner humming like a lie detector. "You knew about the charities?" He shrugged, lighting a menthol despite the signs. "Guessed. But in this game, good deeds are just ammo. She turned your halo into horns." We huddled, plotting my rebuttal. Call the aid orgs, subpoena bank recs, paint Elena as the patsy. But doubt crept in. Had my justice blinded me to the gray? In America, where Robin Hood's a tax cheat if the IRS says so, who was the villain? Trial resumed with my redirect, a barrage of emails and wire confirmations flashing on screens. funds to UNICEF, Red Cross, even a scholarship for Permian dropouts. I hid nothing, I declared, facing the jury's mix of skepticism and sympathy. I saved lives while my family picked pockets. Elena crumbled under cross, admitting Crow's consulting fee, 20 grand wired from Lily's app prototype slush. The tide turned, murmurs shifting from outrage to outrage rerouted. But Lily wasn't done flipping. Closing arguments dawned stormy, thunder rattling the dome like divine discontent. She took the podium unbidden, pro-SE moment, her shark allowing the drama, voice quavering then fierce. My mother's a hero, ladies and gentlemen. She taught me to fight dirty for what's right. I twisted it, yes, for dreams she denied me, stability she sacrificed for billables. But punish me? Or question the system that makes mothers choose between love and legacy? The jury hung, deadlock after 2 days, mistrial declared as rain lashed the windows. The schism deepened post-mistrial, America fracturing further along fault lines of privilege and penance. Lily's camp crowed moral victory, launching a podcast, Firecracker Unchained, where she dissected this sterling machine, guests from Pod Save America types to crypto bros hailing her as a disruptor. Tom's silence broke in a Vanity Fair profile. Diana was the sun. We all orbited, burning up. Me? I became the meme. Halo Horns Diana, photoshopped with devil tail and angel wings, sparking bar fights in Austin dives and TED Talks on ethical ambiguity in legacy building. Revenge's high faded to a dull throb, the fuse burned to nub. I visited Lily in county lockup pre-remand, plexiglass between us, her jumpsuit orange as a traffic cone. You flipped Elena, I said, no question. She smiled, that firecracker spark undimmed. Borrowed your playbook, Mom. For the greater good, my good. And Tom, Dad's collateral. Like you planned. I hadn't. Or had I? The charities, the cover, subconscious sabotage, punishing his infidelities through fiscal judo? The thought chilled deeper than Huntsville's AC. As guards led her away, she pressed a palm to the glass. Write the book, Mom. Make us legends. Legends. In this myth-making nation, where outlaws become icons overnight, maybe that's the real score settling. But legends leave scars, and mine itched for more. Freedom's a fickle mistress, especially when it's probationary. Post-mistrial, the feds cut me loose with a slap. Community service at a Houston legal aid clinic. 500 hours sorting evictions for undocumented nannies who'd raised kids like mine. Irony. Thicker than the humidity clinging to my skin as I filed briefs in a basement office that smelled like mildew and misplaced hope. Lily's remand hearing loomed, a sideshow to the real circus. Her civil suit against the firm for a hostile environment, claiming my retaliatory accusations, tanked her career. Tom countersued for alienation, whining about irreconcilable betrayals in depots where he teared up over Sam's emotional labor. I dove into the grind. Austin's Vibe a Bomb. Tacos from trucks parked under live oaks. Craft IPAs at breweries where tech bros debated ethics without the baggage. New clients trickled in. A barista suing her chain for wage theft. A vet with PTSD from Iraq gigs turned private security. Their stories grounded me. Raw truths over polished lies. But nights? They clawed back, dreams of that closet standoff replaying in Technicolor. Lily's hug grapple, Tom's cower, the gun's report echoing like a starting pistol on a track to nowhere. Marcus called one drizzly Thursday, voice gravel from a fresh pack. She's flipping again, D. Crow's out, conflict of interest, after you dug up his ties to Firecracker Ventures. Lily's going pro-SE, filing for compassionate release. Claims pregnancy. Pregnancy. The word landed like a rogue wave, knocking breath from lungs. Whose? Some intern from her pod network. Or Tom's, DNA pending. She's spinning it maternal, like you. I laughed, bitter bark echoing off my sublet walls, a one-bed in South Congress. Posters of Willie Nelson staring judgment. Maternal. As if gestation erased graft. But the hooks sank deep. Flashes of Lily's birth, me in labor through that deposition, Tom pacing the hall with a cigar he'd never light. Had I wired her wrong from the womb? Ambition's cord wrapped tight? The hearing was a zoo, federal courthouse packed with true crime YouTubers and Lily's cult. Pink banners now striped with baby rattles. She waddled in. Early second trimester confirmed. Bump modest under a smock that screamed reformed. Pro-SE firebrand. She argued with flair. This child deserves a mother, not a martyr. The system's already punished me. Public scorn, lost dreams. Release me to rebuild, like America preaches, second acts for all. The judge, a grizzled vet from the '89 pipeline busts, leaned back, steepled fingers creased as old leather. Ms. Sterling, redemption's earned, not emoted. Your rebuild reeks of recidivism. But her eyes, those hazel pleas, swayed the room. Whispers of let her rot clashing with mommy mercy. Tom testified, voice cracking. She's our blood, your honor. Diana's vengeance. It's poisoned us all. Vengeance. The accusation stung. A barb in the narrative I'd scripted as justice. I didn't speak, silence my strategy, letting her house of cards teeter. But as the gavel hovered, Elena burst in. Unsubpoenaed, rosary swinging like a pendulum. Wait, I lied again, she cried, collapsing into counsel's lap. Crow had coerced her anew, this time with threats to her grandson's green card. The full truth tumbled. Lily hadn't just skimmed. She'd orchestrated a Ponzi through the app, roping Tom as frontman, me as patsy via Elena's hacks. The pregnancy? A ploy, timed with fertility trackers to max sympathy. Sperm donor anonymous. But whispers pointed to a firm associate, another layer of Sterling sleaze. Chaos reigned. Bailiffs wrestling paparazzi. Lily's face crumpling from triumph to terror. The judge remanded her hard. Solitary pending psych eval. The bump no shield against fraud's frost. Her fans rioted outside, flipping from adoration to apostasy. Fake fetus fraud. Trended, birthing Lily lies. Tom vanished post-testimony. A bottle-blonde waitress in Kerrville claiming he proposed over Whataburger fries. Me? The fallout crowned me reluctant queen. Interviews on MSNBC, where Rachel pressed. Was it worth it, Diana? The family fracture? Worth it? The question looped like a bad country chorus, pedal steel whining regret. I'd avenged, sure, dismantled their deceit brick by embezzled brick. But the cost? A daughter in stir, a husband unmoored. A legacy tainted as 3-day-old chili. I drove to Conroe that weekend. Lake House shuddered against fall's chill, leaves carpeting the dock like confetti from a funeral. Whiskey in hand. Elijah Craig, small batch. I sifted old photos. Lily's first steps on the shag rug. Tom's proud grin at her debate nationals. Our trio at Big Bend. Stars thick as spilled sugar overhead. Betrayal's anatomy. Not the act, but the autopsy, picking bones for meaning. A call shattered the reverie. Unknown number. Voice tentative. Samantha. Diana? It's Sam. I need to talk. She'd surfaced, post-Bali glow faded. Holed up in a Waco motel, nursing bruises from Tom's farewell. Turns out, he'd flipped on her too. Blamed the affairs on her seduction. Cut her from the will before bolting. Lily knew everything. She sobbed. Pushed me toward him, said it'd test you. Some sick loyalty game. Loyalty. The word mocked, a punchline to our farce. Sam had proof. Recordings, Lily's voicemails goading the dalliances. Make dad squirm, Sam. Mom'll never suspect. A puppet master in pigtails, pulling strings from her dorm room days. Why? Sam's theory chilled. You were too strong, D. Lily wanted to break you. Prove she could rebuild stronger. Like you, but without the scruples. I hung up, gun from the closet incident now holstered in my nightstand. Reminder. Not relic. Revenge's arc bent toward. What? Absolution. Or just another flip. The board resetting for round 2? Lily's next letter arrived FedEx. Postmarked Brian. The bump's real, Mom. But the game's not over. Bail me, and I'll flip for good, on the whole damn system. Your move. My move. In this chessboard republic, where pawns queen up and kings abdicate, the play was mine. But as thunder rolled over the pines, echoing that rainy garage warning, I wondered, trust her? Or pull the trigger on the last thread binding us? The fuse reignited, sputtering toward climax. Bale hearing dawned crisp, winter's edge nipping at Austin's perpetual spring, the courthouse steps slick with overnight frost. I'd posted, $500K, liquidated from the lake house sale, a noose of my own tying. Lily emerged pale, the smock swapped for cashmere, gift from a fan club donor, anonymous as sin. Her hug in the holding pen was bone crush, whisper hot. Knew you'd come through, Mom. Blood's blood. Blood. the solvent of our sins, sticky as spilled sweet tea. We drove south in silence, my old Tacoma rumbling over 71, the baby's ultrasound tucked in her purse like contraband. It's a girl, she said finally, hand on the swell. Naming her Justice. Fitting, right? I gripped the wheel tighter, knuckles white as a debutante's gloves. Fitting. As if our saga needed sequel. The plan unfolded over Whataburger taquitos in a roadside booth, steam fogging the windows against prying eyes. Lily's Pro SE pivot, a tell-all manuscript, Firecracker's fury, exposing not just our rot, but the firm's underbelly, Big Oil's bribes, the bar's good OL boy codes that let cheats like Tom thrive. We flipped the script together, she urged, eyes alight. You ghostwrite the forward, from victim to victor. Publishers are circling, advance covers bail easy. I chewed slow, the egg and cheese congealing like doubt. And the feds? Your deal. She waved it off. Immunity for the book. Crow's back, brokered it. Says it's reparative justice. Woke enough for the DA. Reparative. The buzzword bomb for America's wounds, slathering over gashes too deep for stitches. Tom surfaced mid-bite, my phone buzzing with a blocked call. Voicemail, raspy, desperate. D, she's playing you. The kid's mine, saw the donor logs. Lily set it up, some twisted legacy trap. Get out now. Click. The flip, his again, from silence to siren. Lily snatched the phone, deleted it with a smirk. Dad's desperate. Ignore. But ignore? In this hall of mirrors, every reflection lied. I stalled, dropping her at a halfway house in San Marcos. Neutral ground, monitored, her anklet a blinking reminder of chains. Think on it, Mom. We're stronger united. United. The dream I'd chased, now nightmare fuel. Nights devolved to stakeouts, parked in the Tacoma's cab with binoculars and black coffee, watching her silhouette pace the lit porch. Whispers of visitors, Crow, sleek as a barracuda, Elena, redeemed and remorseful, bearing tamales and tears, even Sam, tentative truce over herbal tea. What brew were they stirring? I hacked the house Wi-Fi. Old firm tricks, VPN shadows, snagging emails. Lily pitching the manuscript to Knopf, chapters laced with half-truths. Me as tyrant, Tom as tool, her theft catalyst for change. The pregnancy? Levers for sympathy, time to peak at publication. The fuse burned hot now, climax cresting like a Gulf hurricane. I confronted her at dawn, pounding the door till it yawned open, her in robe and slippers, hair a halo of disarray. The book's a con, I hissed, thrusting printouts, her drafts, annotated with Crow's notes. Amp the abuse angle. Juries eat trauma porn. She deflated, then rallied, firecracker flare. It's truth, Mom. Your truth, twisted back at you. You built empires on spin. Why can't I? Because it's us. I roared, the first real volume since The Closet. Not abstractions. The feds, the fans, their pawns. But this gets what's left. Tom's warning echoed, and I pieced it. The donor logs, his panic. A trap, Lily's endgame. Birthing a sterling heir to inherit the spoils, flipping inheritance laws with a paternity suit that'd bankrupt me dry. The baby's bait, I accused. To chain me forever. Her laugh cracked, genuine grief. No, it's redemption. Dad's the donor, consensual, once. To bind us, heal the fractures. But you always see betrayal. The room spun, revelations piling like debris. Tom's proposal in Kerrville a feint, his flight to cover the insemination scam. Elena's tamales dosed with trackers, Sam's tea a wire. The whole, Crow, the book, the bump, a grand flip, Lily puppeteering us toward her phoenix rise. I grabbed her arm, not gentle. End it. Confess, or I do. She wrenched free, eyes wild. Confess? And lose everything? You're the one who taught me. Winners write history. The struggle blurred. Push, shove, her belly between us like a shield. My hand flew, slap echoing sharp. Hers countered, nails raking cheek. We tumbled to the carpet, a tangle of limbs and laments, the ultrasound fluttering free like a white flag. Stop, she gasped. The baby. I froze, breath ragged, the gun's ghost in my palm. No weapon this time. Just words, the sharpest blade. Then choose, Lily. Us, or the Empire. Sirens wailed. Neighbors, or her anklet alarm. She curled fetal, sobs racking. You. Always you. The confession spilled. To Crow, the feds, the book scrapped. Immunity voided, but truth traded for leniency. House arrest, the bump born free. The climax polarized, as Marcus predicted. Lily's fans split, half decrying maternal manipulation, half hailing prodigal return. Tom turned himself in, full admission, donor by duress, affairs orchestrated as tests of love. He got time, soft, club-fed in Seagoville, golfing greens over gray bars. Me? I walked from the fray, the aid clinic my anchor, client's small wins the real revenge. Lily birthed justice in spring, a squall of cries in Seaton's maternity ward. I held her first, tiny fist clutching my finger like absolution. Grandma's girl, Lily whispered, exhausted halo. But the twist lingers, debate fodder for barstools and book clubs. Was it victory, family reforged in fire, or tragedy, the cycle unbroken? Lily clerks now, pro bono like me, her flips tamed to footnotes. Tom writes letters from lockup, contrite haikus of regret. In quiet moments, staring at Austin's Batbridge exodus, I ponder Marcus's warning anew. Don't trust her? Or anyone, self-included. For in America's grand gamble, revenge is the house always winning, leaving us to ante up again. And damn if we don't.